Lamola briefing the media about the outcomes of cabinet meeting yesterday.
The working visit by the President of Malawi to South Africa. Cabinet welcomed the recent successful working visit to South Africa by members of the Malawian government led by President Lazarus Chakwera. The meeting between President Chakwera and President Ramaphosa discussed bilateral, regional, and continental matters of mutual interest. South Africa remains committed to deepen and strengthening relations with Malawi through expanded trade and investment with the goal of achieving decent livelihoods in both countries. The two countries have cordial relations dating back many decades ago, even before some of us were born. Cabinet was also briefed on the issues of Mr. Shepard and Ms. Mary Bushiri, who fled to Malawi while out on bail of 200,000 each, following charges of fraud and money laundering. Cabinet was satisfied with the manner in which the Justice, Crime Prevention and Security Cluster has handled the matter, and the cluster will update the public on the developments regarding this matter. The extradition process has been initiated by the South African government and all law enforcement agencies that are responsible. The municipal by-elections. Cabinet commends the Independent Electoral Commission for the successful by-elections held in 95 wards across 55 municipalities on Wednesday, 11th of November 2020. Municipal elections remain a pillar of sharpening our democracy at the district and municipal level. Cabinet thanked all South Africans who took part in the by-elections, which were the first time after elections activities were suspended in March owing to the coronavirus disease, COVID-19 pandemic. 5 national days of mourning. Cabinet has urged South Africans to take part in the 5 days of mourning to remember those who have lost their lives to COVID-19 and gender-based violence and femicide. All national flags will fly at half-mast during the 5 days of mourning, starting from the Wednesday 25th November to Sunday 29th November 2020. In a united move to honor and remember all those who have succumbed to COVID-19 and gender-based violence and femicide, all citizens are encouraged to wear attires and ornaments which symbolize mourning based on their culture, traditions, and religious beliefs. Signing of the Sugar Master Plan. Cabinet welcomed the signed Sugar Industry Master Plan by Agriculture, Land Reform and Rural Development Minister Togo Didiza and the sugar industry sector. The Sugar Master Plan seeks to take urgent action to protect thousands of jobs, rural livelihoods, and businesses. At the same time, create a bold new ambition to the future, which seeks to create diversified revenue streams for sugar producers and deliver significant new job opportunities. The sugar industry is a critical employer of workers and a source of livelihood for large numbers of rural communities. Cabinet decisions. The National Corruption Strategy. Cabinet approved the National Anti-Corruption Strategy, which provides a nationwide intervention framework. The strategy is the culmination of a countrywide consultation with various sectors, including business, government, and civil society. The National Anti-Corruption Strategy Reference Group, comprising civil society, academia, business, and government representatives, supported the compilation of this strategy. The National Anti-Corruption Strategy covers 6 pillars, which include promoting and encouraging active citizenry, whistleblowing, integrity, and transparency, advancing the professionalization of employees, enhancing governance in institutions, and strengthening resourcing and coordination of performance and accountability. The strategy also proposes an interim National Anti-Corruption Advisory Council as a structural arrangement to ensure greater monitoring, accountability, and transparency. This interim structure will commence a process to set up an independent overreaching statutory structure that will report directly to Parliament. The National Protected Areas Expansion Strategy. Cabinet approved the revised National Protected Areas Expansion Strategy for implementation. The strategy was approved for public consultation in November 2018. These consultations resulted in a number of revised inputs being added in the 9 chapters of this strategy. South Africa is one of the richest countries in terms of plants and animal diversity. It is listed as one of the world's top 3 mega diverse nations. Managing and conserving these essential biodiverse elements also contributes to creating jobs through tourism and nature conservation programs, and also serve as places of scientific research. The revised National Biodiversity Framework. Cabinet approved the publication of the National Biodiversity Framework for public comment. This is a sectoral plan of action to address the biodiversity threats identified during the scientific assessment of the state of biodiversity and ecosystem in South Africa, done by the South African National Biodiversity Institute in 2019. The most critical areas in the assessment report relates to freshwater ecosystems, rivers, estuaries, with freshwater fish being the most vulnerable of all the species. Commercial Forestry Sector Master Plan for South Africa 2020-2025. Cabinet approved the implementation of the Commercial Forestry Sector Master Plan for South Africa 2020-2025, which has been agreed upon by the industry, government, and labor. The plan balances environmental, economic, and social benefit from the forestry resources. It captures 7 key focus areas: expansion of the forestry resource and maintenance protection, transformation of the sector, value addition and processing, timber, theft and illegal activities, research, development, innovation and skills development, key inhibitors to the growth of the sector and institutional development, a national implementation framework towards the professionalization of the public services. Cabinet approved publication of the draft National Implementation Framework towards the professionalization of the public service. This is in line with the commitment made by the 6th administration to create a capable, ethical, and a developmental public service. The framework proposes 5 critical professionalization pillars, which will be led by the National School of Governance in partnership with various institutions of learning. The 5 pillars include pre-entry recruitment and selection within the public service, induction and onboarding, planning and performance management, continuous learning and professional development, and career progression and career incidents. Policy proposal to amend the Public Service Administration Management Act of 2014 and the Public Service Act of 1994. Cabinet has approved policy proposals that seeks to amend the above-mentioned acts. Amongst other things, they propose a move towards a single public service, retention of the status of the NSG as a national department, and clarify the role of the Office of the Health Standards Compliance in respect of mechanisms for the coordination of norms and standards in the public administration. The policy proposal for the PSA include clarifying the heads of department in the Office of the Premier and the Presidency, and also correct some of the issues occasioned by various court judgments. The amendments are premised on furthering the single public administration initiative and also give effect to the policy reforms envisaged in the National Development Plan to build a professional public service. The single public administration initiative is underpinned by the principle to ensure efficiency, quality, and collaborative and accountable service delivery. Official Identity Management Policy. Cabinet approved the Official Identity Management Policy to be released for public comment. The policy proposes a number of changes, including amending the Identification Act of 1997, and alteration of Sex Description and Sex Status Act 40 of 2003 to align them with the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa Act 1996 and the Protection of Personal Information Act of 2013. It also proposes the integration of the National Population Register to enable a single view of a person with features to interface with other government and private sector identity management systems. It will integrate the current system into a biometric enabled identification system. The new proposed population register will form the basis of an official e-identity, which will serve as the backbone of a state and private digital platforms. Protocol to the Constitutive Act of the AU relating to the Pan-African Parliament. Cabinet approved the submission of the protocol to the Constitutive Act of the AU to the PAP for ratification. To give effect to this protocol, member states need to ratify them through their respective parliaments. South Africa hosts the PAP, which is the legislative arm of the AU. Approved bills. The National Small Enterprise Amendment Bill of 2020. Cabinet approved the publishing of the National Small Enterprise Amendment Bill for public comment, which seeks to amend the National Small Enterprise Act of 1996. The amendments provide for the Office of the Small Enterprise Ombudsman Services and repeal the provisions for the establishment of an advisory body. The bill broadens access to justice for small enterprises through the Ombudsman Services, which will be tasked with considering and disposing of complaints by small enterprises. Implementation of the amendments will release greater stability to the sector and advance economic opportunity through the creation of job opportunities by small, medium, and micro enterprises. The National Youth Development Agency Amendment Bill. Cabinet approved the submission of the NYDA Amendment Bill for public comment. The amendments enhance the operational effectiveness of the NYDA in expanding its research and increasing responsiveness to young people's needs. Youth constitute nearly a third of the South African population, and implementation of this bill will go further in contributing towards building a highly skilled labor force and also increasing support for entrepreneurship of the youth. This will contribute towards addressing the triple developmental challenges of poverty, inequality, and unemployment. Upcoming events. 16 days of activism. Cabinet approved the theme, Women's Economic Justice Towards a Non-Violent and a Non-Sexist South Africa, for the 16 days of activism campaign, which is the high point of the 365 days against gender-based violence and femicide campaign. President Ramaphosa will launch the campaign on Wednesday, 25th November 2020, at the Sarah Baartman District Municipality in the Eastern Cape. The Emergency Response Action Plan to combat gender-based violence and femicide that was approved in 2019 commenced to give effect to support survivors, uplift awareness and prevention campaigns, improve laws and policies, promote the economic empowerment of women, and strengthen the criminal justice system. The adoption of the National Strategic Plan, which was revised by the President Ramaphosa early this year, takes forward the emergency response interventions that were started in 2019. The Interministerial Committee on GBVF, led by the Minister in the Presidency for Women, Children, and Persons with Disabilities, Ms. Maite Nkwana-Mashabane, continues to oversee the mainstream operationalization of the program of the NSP. World AIDS Day, 1 December 2020. The theme for the World AIDS Day on 1 December 2020 were in this together, Cheka Impilo, underscores individual responsibility to ensure that the gains made thus far in responding to the HIV and tuberculosis epidemics are not lost. South Africa has the highest epidemic in the world, with about 7.7 million people living with HIV, and accounts to a third of all new infections in the Southern Africa region. More people are now testing for HIV, South Africa is the world's largest antiretroviral therapy program. It is the first country in the sub-Saharan Africa to fully approve pre-exposure prophylaxis, which is now being made available to those at high risk of infection. Cabinet urges South Africans to follow the Cheka Impilo 3 steps. First, get your health check. Get tested for HIV and TB for free at any clinic near you. Secondly, take action once you know your results. Begin treatment immediately or stay on treatment. Lastly, live smart, live healthy by avoiding risky behavior, sexual behavior, avoiding unhealthy habits, and maintaining a healthy, balanced diet. Group of 20 Leaders Summit. President Ramaphosa will lead the South African delegation to the virtual G20 Leaders Summit on Saturday, 21st November and Sunday, 22 November. The G20 Leaders Summit is convened by the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia with a focus on deepening global cooperation around the theme of realizing opportunities of the 21st century for all. The summit is set out to lead international efforts to develop a robust, coordinated global response to fight the COVID-19 pandemic, safeguard the global economy, and enhance international cooperation. Discussions will center on the empowering of people, protecting the planet, and the resolution of global challenges through solutions that benefit all humanity. Messages of congratulations. Cabinet extends its congratulations and well wishes to President Ramaphosa for celebrating his 68th birthday on Tuesday, 17 November 2020, President Alassane Ouattara and the people of Cote d'Ivoire for conducting successful elections. United States of America, President-elect Joseph R. Biden and the people of the USA following successful elections. Master KG for winning the Best African Act Award at the MTV Emmas following the hit song Jerusalem, and that featured Nomcebo Zigode, which became one of the biggest songs on the planet. Banyana Banyana, who earned a 4th successive COSAFA Women's Championship title with the 2-1 victory over Botswana. Bafana Bafana, who completed a double over Sao Tome and Principe to stay on course for the 2022 African Cup of Nations tournament. Condolences. Cabinet sends condolences to the people of Ghana and the family and friends of Ghana's former president, Jerry Rawlings. Family, friends, and colleagues of the outgoing Auditor General, Mr. Kimi Makwetu, who served as our countries with distinction and contributed towards inculcating a culture of accountability in the use of state resources. Mr. Makwetu's death was a huge loss to the auditing profession and the ongoing task of building an accountable administration. Cabinet expressed pride that Mr. Makwetu was elected by acclamation to the United Nations Independent Audit Advisory Committee, a task he will without doubt have executed with distinction. He was supposed to start on this task on the 1st of January 2021. Government and the people of the State of Palestine, following the passing of Dr. Saeb Erekat. Dr. Erekat was the Secretary General of the Executive Committee of the Palestinian Liberation Organization, member of the Fatah Central Committee, and the prominent academic, the lead Palestinian peace negotiator, and a close friend of South Africa. It then is followed by appointments, which you will read. Thank you very much.
Here's our sanitizer master.